And I'm Sharonda.
And this is Until Forever. This is a relationship podcast. We are in no way experts. We don't claim to be gurus or anything like that.
Definitely
we just
not.
want to bring you along on our journey as we discuss some things. If we help you, we do. If you help us, you do. And we just want to make conversation and have fun with it. Is that all right?
That's all right.
Okay, I don't know what that
Don't
was.
you remember from Love Jones? And he's like, "Is that all right?"
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe bits and pieces. See, I was raised holy, but I see you went beyond the other veil.
There are so many people right now where you're like, your level of blackness just went.
My melanin is true. And
Is it? You haven't seen Love Jones?
I seen bits and pieces of Love Jones.
You didn't know about the. Is that all right? You didn't know about that part.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't even think that's. I ain't gonna go there.
Welcome to episode 6.
Yes, we're in episode 6, and we are embarking on a journey into the world of marriage in the church.
Church.
Oh, you remember. You remember. Marriage in the church. We're going to have some fun with this. We're going to get deep with it. And we can't do that without you. So make sure that you are commenting. You are reaching out to us. How many ways can they get to us?
Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For comments. And
right here. It's on the screen. Right there.
You can subscribe.
You can subscribe. Okay, so this very first episode of our journey into marriage in the church, and by the way, just full disclaimer, we're probably going to step on toes, and I don't care. I think in our description we should put "Asks me, do I care?"
Oh,
just to rub folk the wrong way, just to make you a little uncomfortable. But we're going to speak from our experience. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is right.
No.
But
it's our point of view.
It's our point of view and our experience, and we're going to have fun with it, and you're going to talk back to us. Okay, so go ahead and start us off.
Okay, so this episode is a little late this week, but it's actually perfect timing for the topic. We are discussing infidelity.
Yep.
So, right now, a very popular topic on social media is Mr. Derek Jackson. And so it's come out that he's had affairs or an affair and a long time ago per him. But because of the video he did with his wife, normally we're used to seeing him do these videos where he's talking about man and what women should accept from man, or bashing other people who are known for having infidelities. Sitting in a car, and he's got like the selfie camera going, but this particular video was done with his wife in their home, sitting on the couch, and it's gotten a lot of backlash, and it kind of just sparked this conversation between the two of us, and since we had already announced we were starting this series, we decided to revamp the order of things we were discussing and do infidelity first.
Yep. So I want to start by saying that brother is swole as I don't know what. And I didn't know this until this whole scandal broke and they showed a full body picture. And a coworker of mine pointed out that his muscles aren't proportionate to his head.
My gosh.
And I just want to say that's why it's taking me so long to lose weight, because I have a big head. And I don't want to have skinny body, big head.
This is not a weight loss
I'm
discussion.
just saying I don't want to be bobblehead out here. So maybe I shouldn't lose.
But you used to be skinny and you weren't a bobblehead.
But there are no exercises to lose fat in your head.
It comes off your face.
Okay. whatever you say.
Okay, so we're talking about infidelity in the church.
Mm-hmm.
Are we just gonna jump right in?
Let's do it. Let's jump right in.
Okay, so I believe, like now that's happening on social media, when it comes to a married couple in the church, especially ones that are leaders or very well known, nationally or globally, or even like within like the church itself, like in a convention or something like that. Bottom line is, we kind of get like this flabbergasted reaction, like, oh my God, them. And then if it is the man who's doing the cheating and this woman is saying, we're getting counseling or we've had counseling and we're moving forward together, then it's kind of like, ooh, that wouldn't be me, or that couldn't be me. And it's like, you don't know what it would be because you're not in her situation.
Mm-hmm.
The other part is that I have heard personally and seen where we try to bash women for saying they are going to be forgiving and love their husband unconditionally. I don't think personally that when they're saying that they are saying they're going to magically forget all of the things that their husband has done, that they're going to magically be able to look at these other women, especially because most of the time these women are right there in the church where this married couple goes half the time. I don't think that they're saying that they can look at these women and be best friends and continue to move on automatically. What else? And I don't think that they're saying that it's easy, but I do think that they are saying they are committed. They are sticking to their vows for better, for worse, and they want to see it through. And I don't think that they're saying they're just going to lay on their backs and let this man walk all over them and do whatever he wants because they're going to keep forgiving him.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you. I guess my perspective is similar, but it's kind of different because I feel that there's an imbalance. There's this focus on, when guys cheat, when the man cheats, it's almost as if the church expects the woman to forgive, expects the woman to work that thing out. The submissive, Proverbs 31 woman will get cheated on, and she's just supposed to be like, that's the nature of the man to, we've heard so many excuses. I've heard them from, back in the day, polygamy was, the way of life. And it's just common for men to have sex with multiple partners. So that nature is there. And when they get married and we expect a man to be with one woman for the rest of his life, we can't blame him if, his little wank lead him to somewhere it shouldn't be leading him. But see, my thing is, I don't understand why we're harder on women. When I say we, I mean the church. The church, I'll just keep saying the church because I'm different. The church is harder on women than they are on men when it comes to infidelity. I think when the woman steps out, it's this, how could she? How dare she? She's a homewrecker. Why would she do that? What would possibly make her do that? And when a man steps out, it's, well, men will be men. You go ahead and work that thing out. The Bible don't like ugly. God don't like divorce. Don't be getting divorced, and it's like those options are just snatched off the table. I think that's terrible. And I think that does, especially a woman who was born and raised in the church, I think that does a number on her mental health, because she's not allowed, or she may feel that she's not allowed to go through the hurt and the whatever, the healing process. She's not allowed to make a decision on whether she should stay or go, because the fact of the matter is the church is not involved in your relationship on a day-to-day basis. They don't know what's happening behind closed doors. They don't know how many times she's caught him texting, or she's caught him, meeting up or having lunch dates and stuff. All they know is when it finally hit the fan and it comes out, and everybody's like, "Oh, it must have just happened, just a one-time thing." But they don't know. They don't know the deep behind the scenes stuff. And then you're allowing. See, I need to stop. You're allowing an entity, a body of people who are not in your relationship to then steer and determine which way your relationship should go. When you got married, you didn't make a promise to your pastor or to your church or to that body of believers. That's between you, your spouse, and God. That's it. And that's who you got to get it right by, not by your church people, who are going to, I'm sure, tell you, hang in there, watch. I mean, how many?
I don't think I think the hang in there comes without the testimony of that person hanging in their marriage. And I'm not going to say who, because I didn't clear if I can share their business before this. But I know of a woman who did the cheating, and the church found out about it, and she had more women coming to her saying, "Hang in there, baby," but nobody's really giving her any actual examples. Like, I've been here, I've been down this road, this is what it looked like, because the reality is, I don't know the statistics, but how many relationships do you know where the woman did the stepping out versus the man doing the stepping out? Mm-hmm. And in most cases, in these days, present day, it might be a little different, but in most cases, when the woman steps out, it's an emotional connection there. It's not just a physical thing. Mm-hmm. When a man steps out, you got no clue. Does he just not know how to keep his stuff in his pants? Or, what is the deal? And it's not an excuse, but I just want more seasoned couples and even younger couples who have been through it and continuing to go through life together to be a little bit more transparent. I don't want them spilling all the tea. But when it comes to a couple going through a situation and then they need help, they need somebody to walk them through this. That's why they are listening to all these people in the church, telling them to hang on, you can get through this, I'm praying for you. But what they really need is some sound counsel and some real life examples. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
So let me ask this. Do you think that there is more infidelity in the church or in the world? And why?
I honestly don't know. And I'm saying that because most of the people I know personally are from church. And most of the people that I do know that are not heavily involved in church, not born and raised in church, don't enter into marriage because it seems like a very serious decision to them. And they rather be single and sleep around than to say they want to be married and step outside of the marriage.
Okay, so then of people who are married that are believers
in the church, I'm going to say I think more infidelity happens in the church.
Why?
I don't. That's just based off of my experience. Okay. How many people do you know where you pop up later in life and it's like, oh, she's also Brother Jenkins' daughter? Or did you know sister so-and-so slept with Deacon so-and-so back in the day? And it's like, what? Yeah. Church people?
Yeah.
Church people?
It happens. Nobody is exempt. I would say it's just as much, but I think the church side of it gets amplified because we feel like it's not supposed to be happening.
Well, it shouldn't be happening at all.
Right, it shouldn't happen at all. But there's a higher standard placed on believers and church going folks, and you would think that it wouldn't happen, but I really think that, and this is one of them things where I'm gonna step on toes and people just gonna be mad, but this is just how I feel. Prove me wrong. I think that the church has failed us when it comes to relational matters, especially the black church, because I feel like our focus has been so much of, let's grow the body, let's get more people to come to church, let's get the lights and smoke machines going, let's build up the choir.
I don't think it's a black church thing.
I'm not saying it's specifically a black church thing, but I do think that the black church, as far as leadership goes, that nothing is there to help create real relationship to where when infidelity does come into play, there's a plan of action. I think most people just be like, hey, just you just gonna have to pray. Let me assign you to mother so and so, and she's gonna help you get through it. And that's good. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But nobody deals with the root cause of the infidelity.
I agree. But the reason I say it's not a black church thing is because, Jesus, within the last year, we've had, although he claims he hasn't slept with anyone but his wife, but he's emotionally cheated, John Gray, who is not technically from a black church. He came out of Lakewood, and before that he came out of New Birth, which is a black church, but he's been in these large churches, and now he's pastoring a large church. I assume it's still a large body of people. And Carl Lentz, I mean, this dude was completely having an affair with someone who had no clue who he was. Israel Houghton, that we know that's years ago, but like, come on, this is not a black church thing. But I think it's definitely a church issue that there's nothing in place. Because even what I will say is that in a multicultural or white church, it seems that the plan is, well, we're going to have to sit you down and move you to the side because this is an issue and we got to get that under control. And so in the black church, I mean, look at Charles Jenkins. When his stuff came out, it was like, oh, well, it's not true. We've got to debunk this. Let's put his wife out there with him. Remember when we went to the Chicago Gospel Music Awards? As soon as that man got off the stage, his wife was right there at the door on the side waiting to go backstage with him. And then they went to their seat together. I don't know. We need to do better. I will say that. And when I say we, like you, the church, we need to do better when it comes to teaching and supporting marriage in the church.
I agree. And we don't just need to, we have to do better. Because, we keep, every church that is a church wants to grow their church. They want people to see that they are living life the way that God intends for them to live it. So if there's this, stigma out there that, hey, this is how you're supposed to live life, this is, church people have it all together, which we don't, but we should have, roles in place that help deal with the total man, help deal with everything that a person can go through. I think that's what makes a church a strong church. And I feel like church has failed us in that area, because we don't, for one, we have to be more transparent. What you were saying is so real about how there aren't any, we testify about checks in the mail. We'll testify about how, God healed my body, and those are good testimonies. But we will not testify about our porn addictions. We won't testify about our sex addictions. We won't testify about when we slipped up and messed up and stepped outside of our marriage. And I think it's because we're scared of losing, I don't know, fans.
Some type of credibility. And to me, that's pride.
Yep.
That is pride. And it's also rooted in shame, because the bottom line is the people are going to shame you. It's just in them. It's flesh to be like, ooh, that goes back to what I said. There's going to be some woman or women saying, ooh, that couldn't be me. I've been out of there. Get out of there, honey. But what I really would want to hear is from a woman who stayed and saying, ooh, girl, it's been nice right after, where I was just laying in bed looking at him, wanting to put my pillow over his face and smother him. Give me the real. Yep. Tell me, like, ooh, no, child, I packed my bag and I was gone for 3 months. I was gone for a year. And we, and nowadays you got people checking cell phones. They couldn't do that back in the day. Wasn't no star 69 to see what the last call was. Wasn't no caller ID. They was pretty much going off of discernment, really, and whatever people in the neighborhood or the church could tell them. And nowadays I feel like with social media and the internet, and I mean, you could go ahead and have your prepaid phone from Walmart and use that as your secret phone for your extra side pieces. But I feel like the transparency of how what it looked like would help so much better, because women today and men will drive themselves crazy thinking that, okay, I'm supposed to forgive them. Okay, I'm supposed to just get up, and I don't want to let the children know. I just want to make this a happy home, and I just want to keep going. And they'll be suffering depression and self-harm probably. And, 30 years down the line be thinking, why didn't I leave? Or what could I have done differently? And I'm not saying they shouldn't stay, but I'm also not saying that they should stay and suffer mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because that's tainted gospel as well, to make someone feel that they need to stay because marriage is supposed to resemble Christ and the church. And we as the church are dirty. We are filthy. We are not sinless. We are constantly sinning, constantly needing to repent. And here is Christ, who has sacrificed his life, his body, just after he said, God, please take this from me. And so what some people in the church will do is say, if Jesus can die on the cross for our sins, surely you can bear this cross. This is your cross to bear. And I'm not saying that it isn't, but I am saying that we need to give a better set of tools for how to get through it.
Absolutely. Well said. Um, well said. We got to do better. The church has to do better. I think, when it's all said and done, whether you go to church or not, it really don't have nothing to do with your chances of stepping outside of your marriage.
Definitely.
But you having a relationship with God definitely has something to do with it, because there's that relationship that you have with God that says, I made this union with my wife. We're going to follow Christ and do the best that we can do.
Yes.
That being said, we know nobody's perfect. We know situations can happen, and we know that nobody is going to always do everything the right way. But if you always have a mindset of grace that says restoration can come after this, then I think infidelity isn't always the end, but both parties have to be willing to fight and to hang in there. I will say that. Sharonda and I, we've been blessed to not have to deal with infidelity that I know of.
In the marriage
that I know of.
Don't look like that at the camera. There are things that were exposed after marriage from things that happened before marriage.
That caused huge trust issues that took us years to deal with. And
probably the last couple of years have been our best years.
Yes.
Like, I no longer, like, I'll just be being nosy. And I've said that before. Now I just be being nosy, like, oh, who's that? Mm-hmm. But it's not like this pit in my stomach that's like, oh, who is that? Is that a girl? What are they talking about? Let me see the whole thread. What have they been, how many times do they call each other? Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine what it would be like going through that in a marriage. Especially one that you feel like, because let's put it out there, half the time when it happens, you'd be like, oh, not them.
Yeah.
Because it's always the ones that look like the picture perfect marriage. And that's not to say that there aren't some relationships out there where you'd be like, ooh, well, I'm not surprised. But I will say that I've had friends that have gone through this in marriage, and the only thing I could tell them was, you have to decide. Mm-hmm. You, not your friends, not me, not your pastor, and not even the other spouse in the marriage. Like, you have to decide what is enough for you to stay. And are you both, like Corey said, are you both willing to move forward and fight for your marriage? Mm-hmm. Because life alone or life together, you're going to be fighting. There was something else I was thinking I was going to say, and I can't remember now. Mm-mm. Oh, I don't know. I was thinking about Tina from Mary Mary. And just how all of that played out when they had their reality show. And it was just kind of like, she found counsel from her sister, from Erica, sharing about things from her and Warren. And sometimes you just need, it might be something that other people might be ashamed to share, and it could really be something that would help someone in need. Yeah.
That's why I always say transparency is key. Because had her sister not been transparent with her, and you may not have a sibling that can be transparent with you, but that's literally what belonging to a church is supposed to do for you. God has a way of putting you around a body of believers who believe like you do, that go through things just like you do, who may have gone through a situation that you're dealing with right now, so that they can then talk to you, being transparent about what happened to them, so that you can see that it is possible and that God does bring you through things. So we are overtime. So how can they find us?
We've already said that. At Until Forever Podcast. Definitely comment and let us know your thoughts. And share this video if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. And you can also share the link from any of the podcast apps like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor. Those are the top 4 that I can think of.
Yep. Anchor. I remember that one from last week. I'm just the only one.
Everything is at Until Forever Podcast.
All right. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.